How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RigPop, also known as RuffledRowlit on YouTube, and today I'm bringing you my first video in a long time on this channel, guys. Today we'll be talking about everything we know about the private servers in Fallout 76. And before I get started with this, guys, I want to point out, of course, this channel is my old gaming channel, and I'm reviving it as a news channel, leaks and rumors channel, so to say. I'll be talking about all things gaming. If it's gaming related, I'll talk about it. If it's news related to gaming, I will talk about it. All things gaming on this channel. And today's first video, as I mentioned, we'll talk about Fallout 76 and the private server debacle. So let's talk about what we have here. And I'm reading this from a PC Gamer article, so if you do want to, read it on your own, I'll always make sure to link it down below to the source, and you guys can check it out yourself. I'll be giving them my, my opinions here, what I think about this, and let's get started. So, everything we know about Fallout 76 private servers, it will have them. We don't know exactly when. So, the moment Todd Howard announced Fallout 76, an entirely online post-nuclear RPG at E3, you could hear question marks bouncing around the show floor like bullets out of a minigun. How many players will share a world? What about mods? How does PvP work? Can I play Fallout 76 on a private server? Am I going to get nuked again? What? Okay, so the biggest issue that people have and the Fallout community has with Fallout 76 is the constant online, needed connection. It's an online-only game, which means you can't play it offline at any time ever. And the game has no NPCs. There are no non-player characters that, just walk around and, sell you stuff and that sort of thing. Everything in the game, I guess, I guess there's gonna be something there, at least something for you to buy weapons, I would assume. Maybe not even that, maybe that's not even there at all, but they did say no general NPCs. All you can do is interact with other players. The game is constantly online, and the lack of NPCs is really bad because I think NPCs are kind of an essential part of the Fallout experience from the previous games like Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout, New Vegas, etc. NPCs are a huge part of the experience, so that being gone could be a little bit of a problem. And then the fact that it's online means that the possibilities for mods, like user-created tools and that sort of stuff, is so much harder unless you have private servers or servers that are owned by players that you buy, a server space, and then you can keep that server and you can add in whatever mods, change it, all that stuff. A good comparison this game I could make is to something like Rust. Rust has mods. Rust has user-made mods in the game, and Rust has a similar concept as what you have with Fallout. It's a survival, online-only game where you have to gather resources. You start from nothing, you gather resources, you kill animals, you survive against other players, you raid each other. It's basically kind of the same thing going on here. So I can understand why, the concept of a private service, kind of being necessary here is a major point, because the big deal with Bethesda games is that they always get supported over a long time by fans. The only reason most, games from Bethesda are considered so good, so highly regarded, is because they're, the community survives thanks to the part of the community that does the mods. That's what's kept them alive. And we know there's been a lot of bullshit from Bethesda's side, oh, let us make mods paid and that sort of stuff. There's a lot of shit that they've done that's really just stupid. But the question is, will private servers be here? Well, let's see what they have to say on PC Gamer here. Will Fallout 76 get private servers? Yes. At QuakeCon 2018 on August the 11th, game director Todd Howard confirmed again that private servers are a part of the plan. This is definitely something, and this is just quoting him here, that is definitely something that we are doing. We are committed to it. It's not just having a private server, it's being able to mod it. And that's good. That right there is really important. The only question now that comes up is, when's this going to happen? When are we going to see private servers? When will they come out? All that stuff. And there is more down here. I'll read through all of it and kind of discuss it, as we go through here. But let's see what he says here. So he said this in the Q&A panel, and then he continues, it's something that, given the online nature of it, it's going to be very, very complicated, but we're committed to it, and we've been starting to design what the system is going to look like. It's a complicated problem, but one that we're 100% committed to solving. Now, this is where the problem is, right? They say they're committed to this, and they're saying it's a complicated process. Shouldn't this be something that you kind of should have already done while the game was being worked on from day one. Because I feel like a lot of people are feeling this from Fallout 76, that it feels more like an early access title based on what we've heard so far. Now, this is just of what we've heard, what we know at the given time. It seems that the game just is, it feels like this early access title that's going to be worked on over time and added to, which really would not be fun. I know you guys probably heard this bullshit statement of like, gaming as a service or some shit like that, where basically, like, it works for a game like Rust. It works there, but based on the, the way the Fallout universe works and based on the previous games, I'm not sure if it's going to work for Fallout. It just doesn't feel like it's going to do that, because in Rust, the whole point is, the game is being built on and, improved over time. It started from like a shitty early access game, and now, I think it's actually been fully released now, but they still are updating it. The game is still continuing to get updates. It's being, consistently worked on. I think the game is out of beta at this point, I think, because like, I remember when I played it in the past, it was still in beta, but then I guess they released it now. It's a fully fledged game, but they're consistently adding to it, right? They're improving, you're making it better and stuff, but you wouldn't expect that from a AAA game. Like, Rust is more of a indie type title, I would say. I mean, maybe not at this point, considering, the people that are making it being, I guess, Face Punch, but at the same time, Fallout is made by Bethesda. They should give you a finished product if they're asking for $60 up front. They should be able to provide that, and I don't know how it's going to work with, like, season passes and all that stuff, because usually Fallout games do have season passes as of late, so I'm just really curious, how are they going to pull this shit off, because right now, it's not looking too good in that regard. But let's continue on. Then he says here, this reiterates with a little more detail what Howard said earlier this year in an interview with Geoff Keighley during E3. Our goal is at launch. This is really new for us. It is to have a well-running, robust service, he said. And then some period later, we're still currently designing what that service looks like. And you'll be able to have your own private world, and we'll be able to mod it and do all of that. Now, here's the thing. As long as we get that feature eventually, I'm on board, but you're literally asking us to give you money ahead of time for something we don't know how it's going to work actually, once it's actually fully released. And by the way, if you're watching this channel, you're brand new here, just one thing you might want to know if you do want to subscribe, I'll be shitting on a lot of games. If a franchise or a game or a company are doing things, anti-consumer wise, I will literally shit on them, and this is bad. Here's the thing, right? I'm excited to play this game. I'm a huge fan of Rust. I like survival games. I like games that are like online and you have to build your own bases and keep track of your, stuff. It's fun. I enjoy that sort of stuff. Ark Survival Evolved was also a fun game, minus the fact that like it was impossible to run for a long time. But at this point, it's slightly better, to actually run. But it's besides the point. What I want to get across is I love these survival games, and I think for all I can do it well. The only problem is, the lack of a private server for the people who love mods and stuff is a little bit worrisome. Like, when is it going to be out? A month after release? 2 months? Half a year? You know what I mean? Like, what time are we looking at here? Like, what's the time span? How long are we gonna have to wait? That's kind of where I'm, really curious. But, let's see where he continues on here. So he says you're gonna be able to have your own private world, able to mod it. And he says on August 27th, Pete Hines stated on Twitter that while you will eventually be able to set up your own private server, the hosting will also be through Bethesda. Oh, that's okay. That's where I get worried again, right? This is another problem. In the past, if you look at games like Battlefield 1 and stuff, right, you can host your own servers there. Even Rust. I'll take up Rust again as an example. Even in Rust, you can host your own servers, right? You can, you just go to a website, you pick up a server, you buy hosting space through like one of those like many private server, server services that exist there. Damn, that was too much S in one sentence. But basically, you can buy your own server from different providers. But then eventually with Battlefield 1, they forced you to use the Battlefield or the EA services, right? The EA servers, which are way more limiting. You don't have as many options, as many things to do. It's a bit problematic, and that way also you end up you end up paying directly to that company instead of buying, getting the best possible option. You're only limited to one thing, and that's what I see here as well. You're limited to only Bethesda, so let's say potentially Bethesda servers that you can run, private worlds, private servers, whatever you want to call them. Maybe they run bad in a specific part of the world, and maybe there's a better provider of online servers and private servers, so to say, that could provide you way better speed for that part of the world. But guess what? Screw you, because that doesn't matter to them. You can only do it through Bethesda. I see an issue here, but You know, it's something that they of course want to do because they can make more money like this. They can regulate what's being, you know, put onto their servers and what's being, you know, done to their game. This way is a way for them to probably like also inject paid mods again, because we know that Bethesda's been trying to push this whole paid mod shit, and the fans hate it. We all know the fans hate it. I hate it. You should not have to pay for mods. It's just stupid. Like, you know, it's just a dumb thing. You shouldn't have to do that. It's just beyond dumb. But they're trying to inject it into, you know, into their games as much as possible, and that's what I'm kind of feeling right here as well. I could be wrong, I could be right, I don't really know. But they continue on here. When will Fallout 76 get private servers? Now, Fallout 76 private servers will come sometime after launch. Howard's comment is the closest we have to a rough timetable so far. Best guess, a couple of months, given Bethesda's typical pacing between managing the few weeks following a major release and eventually implementing mod support. So, I'm really curious, well, are we talking like half a year worth of months, or are we talking like three to 4 months? Because I want to see it as soon as possible. I want to make a private service to play with my viewers if, you know, anybody's interested out there. I would love to do that. So, you know, I'm really not too sure about this part right here. This is a little bit sketched out to me. But will Fallout 76 servers have admin tools? Nothing concrete yet, but expect some degree of control in adjusting the severity of the PvP interactions with the fellow Wasteland Wanderers you invite into your realm. We don't want PvP to be griefy, but we want to have some drama, is what Howard told KATY in the same interview in the past, back at E3. Bethesda's Pete Hines backed up the sentiment in E3's interview with a Game Reactor EU saying, "I understand when you're hearing online or you hear multiplayer or PvP that you people jump to, well, it's an MMO, or oh, it's a free-for-all where everybody's shooting each other, or I'm gonna get griefed constantly by other players." Well, that's just what Rust is, but you know, this is, I guess, different, and that's like a softcore whatchamacallit, survival game. It's a softcore survival. I think they even said that. I think they even used that as a statement. And the fact is, this just doesn't fit into the mold of anything else, because that's what Bethesda's game studio does. We aren't the type of company, and they're not the type of developer that looks at what somebody else is doing and says, "Oh, we're just gonna do that." Well, that, I guess, is kind of true. They kind of do things in a different manner. That's an obvious fact. I can agree with that. You can use mods in Fallout 76 private servers, right? Right. In fact, it's looking like a non-public worlds will be the only space where mods are allowed to flourish, given Howard's explanation. That's subject to change, of course, as Bethesda is largely still figuring out the best course to take with custom content in a always online environment with multiple players interaction or multiple player interactions. We'll be happy as long as we can replace the launchable nuke with a Thomas the Tank Engine skin, but our guess is NPC packs and PvP disabling tools will be the most popular downloads. Okay, well, Fallout 76 private servers will still be online only. Looks like it, though there hasn't been any tech side specific involving how exactly private sessions will be hosted, PC hosted service, main server connection requirement, etc. When asked about the possibility of online playing, Howard said that this to say, "You cannot go offline. You will see, even if you're playing by yourself, doing quests, you will see other players, and you can interact with them, you can ignore them, but there is a quest line. But who knows what modders will come up with." And that is true. And that's essentially the whole, you know, article here. Kind of just breaking down this whole thing in general. And like I said, I've already kind of pointed out my opinions throughout this video of what I think about this. I think private servers should be there from the get-go. They're not going to be there from the get-go, which is, I guess, fine. As long as they don't take too long to implement them, it could be a bit annoying, because this game won't have a overarching story the same the previous games have. There is no overarching, you know, goal, so to say. It's just kind of you pissing about, doing quest lines, and just, you know, killing other players. That's like, it feels like that's what essentially it is. It's a softcore version of Rust, and that's what I think the whole thing with this game is going to be. It's your, you know, it's a kind of skimmered down version of Rust with less griefing and less, you know, that sort of stuff. So if that's what this game is going for, then yeah, mods will be needed. You know, you want to have, you make sure that you have mods, because I know for a fact people will be making battle royale modes. You see that in Rust already from the past. Before even Fortnite and PUBG came out, there were battle royale modes in Rust as well. You'll be seeing people making, you know, RP only servers and that sort of stuff. Like, there is so much here for the potential when it comes to private servers, as long as they don't limit it or block out the possibility for mods and that sort of stuff. So as long as they don't block out any of those possibilities, I think this game is going to be freaking awesome to play if you're looking for like a survival type game, which I think this could work as. Keep in mind, I think they probably already have another Fallout game, you know, in the bag being worked on. you know, that isn't a online only game. So, you know, they've got several projects, and keep in mind there are also other Bethesda games coming out in the future, so there is always something coming from these guys, and you know, let's just wait and see what comes in the future. But if this isn't a game for you, keep in mind you're not forced to, you know, buy it. You can also wait and see what people say about it, what the reviews say, etc. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. If you did enjoy, then drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe, guys, because I will be posting videos about all things gaming. If there is a game you want me to talk about, any news in any specific game, any leaks, rumors, all that stuff, please leave it in the comment section down below. I would love to know what you guys want to see, and thank you so much for watching. My name's been RuffledRowlit and RuffledRowlit, and I'll see you the next time. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.